Hey, this is Jeff from digitalpapercuts.com, and I'm here with John Turnbull. He writes a soccer blog, or a football blog, if this were the rest of the world, called The Global Game. How are you, John?
Doing great.
Tell me a little bit about your blog and what you're doing over there.
Right. Well, I live in Atlanta. The blog started in 2003. It's The Global Game, as you said. Since the beginning, I've been trying to write about the cultural aspects of world soccer. That includes almost anything: literature about soccer, cinema about soccer, politics related to soccer. My main interest is really soccer around the world and how it interacts with people in their daily lives. How people weave soccer in and out of their work life, their family life, their relationships. Outside of America, where soccer tends to be very youth-oriented and very organized, and the cliches, it's very suburban. The rest of the world looks at soccer as a cultural entity, if you will. It's part of your big organizing blocks of life. It's like faith, family, football, if you will.
With you being based in the U.S., how do you get your it's a door slamming. How do you get your material for your blog? How do you find those cultural stories?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a tautology to say that I'm a blogger on the internet. The internet is absolutely required to connect to people. In soccer, I think internet, as far as soccer, people following soccer, people being soccer supporters in the United States of the world game, the internet has perhaps done more than, well, I don't want to say that. It's done as much as grassroots workers have to build the game, interest in the game, culture of the game in the United States, because all of a sudden the internet has built these niches: people who are fans of Arsenal, people who like soccer in Serbia, people who like soccer in Russia, people who like soccer in South America, Israel, so on and so on, can make those connections quite easily. And that's what I started doing. When I started in 2003, I started emailing people, started writing them, just building a little network, as you might do when you were starting a job. Academics and media people predominantly, and some coaches and some players. A lot of the queries I get on my site now are from soccer players, footballers in West Africa and Nigeria, thinking that I run a soccer team or that I'm a coach or run an academy of some kind, which I want to make clear I don't do. I wish I could help those people, but it just shows you how the internet is dug its way deep through all parts of life, but soccer also.
And I understand that The Global Game is also the name of a book you wrote.
Yeah.
How does that relate? How does that relate to your blog? Is it a collection of blog articles? Is it just you used the title and wrote about similar things that you write about on your blog?
It was really an accident. I met up with a few people a year or two. The blog was instrumental in helping me make the contacts that I needed to. But I found a couple of collaborators and we put together an anthology of world literature about soccer. Very few entries are blog entries. Most are literature in translation. Again, we wanted to be comprehensive. We wanted to cover every continent. And the Global Game title for the book was really an accident. I thought the Global Game that's almost a cliche when you're talking about soccer. I thought it was a good name for a website. It's easy to remember. But that it ended up being the title of our book as well was just happy coincidence. And it's really the first collection of world literature about soccer to come out in the United States, and that we were able to get it published and that there was that interest out there, I think says a lot for how culture of soccer is developed here.
Well, that's great. And one final question. As we're leading up to next year's World Cup, are there some soccer blogs that you look towards for your information, or maybe more authoritative? Yeah,
I mean, there are many categories of them. The blogs run by the big, in English I'm speaking about now, the ones run out of London with the big dailies in London, the Telegraph, the Guardian, all outstanding. ESPN, SoccerNet has had a presence in soccer from the very beginning. They've been long-standing. And I'll just mention a couple other people who do similar things to me. They're both doing it in the United States, which shows you that even though people don't think about this country as a soccer hotbed, that it's almost an advantage. It gives you an interesting perspective on the world sport. I'm not as jaded by it as people might be elsewhere in Italy and England, where it's all you hear about. But there's a site called From a Left Wing that's by a female English professor, teaches in the University of California system, that I would recommend. She's a very good writer, writes about women's issues in soccer. And then Pitch Invasion, which does sort of similar things that I do, emphasizing the supporters angle from the fans' perspective. All of these efforts, I think, have pushed writing about sport outside the arena. As I said to you before, I don't write about matches. I don't find it really interesting. It's just one game after another to me. But when you start writing about people's lives and the stories that they have and how they built their lives around soccer, then that's interesting.
Okay, well, great. Thanks very much, John.
All right. Cheers, man.